Hi, you guys.
Hi.
Hello.
It's always so great to see everybody again. We actually just hopped off a banter episode, so this is kind of fun. This is like our warm up.
Yeah.
All of our immaturity.
We got the wiggles out. Like,
Yeah, we got our wiggles out.
On this
immaturity, though.
okay.
Good.
Because you are in the military.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know how I got in, but I got in.
the bio says it all.
Yeah, seriously.
That's all you've done. So, no, but welcome to the Miles and Miles podcast. This is a podcast for moms who run by moms who run. We do talk about running on this podcast.
We talk about a lot of other things too, but yeah.
As you guys will hear on our next episode. But yeah, we came together with this podcast just, to give each other company and to give you guys something to listen to and have people by your side along the way while you're doing the laundry, while you're doing the dishes, while your kids are driving you crazy this summer. Turn on this podcast, put one earbud in, and you can just pretend like you hear the kids in the background. So, but I am one of your co-hosts. I am Shanna Burchett.
I'm Olivia.
I'm Whitney. And then we have Jen Hughes on.
Hello.
Hello. She's our special guest today.
And she is a badass mom.
Yeah.
Exclamation
point.
Yeah.
Exclamation point times 12.
We are so excited to have you on. So thanks.
Yeah, you're right.
We're recording together today, so we're trying to figure this out on like our tiny laptop screen.
Yeah, this is kind of new. They're not, Olivia and Shanna are usually not recording together. This is a special, Olivia's moving right now. And so Shanna came to help her pack.
It's kind of fun that way though.
Yeah. We've gotten so much done.
I think we've made a bigger mess.
There's 8 children that are.
Oh my God!
I'm sure they're like, oh, bubble wrap. We should use this right now. Yeah.
We'll just throw all the glasses on the ground. It's fine.
Honestly, then less things to bring down. There's a positive side to everything. So, yeah. My husband probably wouldn't see it that way, but I do. Okay, so we have amazing Jen with us. I'm going to read her bio and just give a quick intro. So Jennifer Hughes is a dedicated coach, soldier, wife, and mother, known for her resilience and faith. After a life-changing car accident left her in a wheelchair, she fought to walk again, eventually returning to competitive running and aiming for the Olympic marathon trials. Jennifer has run in all 50 states and 28 countries. With over 15 years of coaching experience, she currently coaches high school track and field, cross country, and unified sports. She has received numerous accolades, including the 2024 Brooks Most Inspirational Coach in the Nation and her school's Coach of the Year for 2024-2025. At the age of 45, Jennifer made history as the oldest woman to enlist and complete basic training, now serving in the Army National Guard while maintaining her coaching and competitive training. Grounded in her faith and family, she embraces life and seeks new experiences, cherishing her love for running and connecting with people worldwide.
That's so cool.
Perfect.
Woo, ghost!
Oh my God.
That's so cool.
It's kind of a lot.
No,
I don't know.
Not at all. We want to hear about all of it. That's why we have you here. So
it's like I don't even know where to start first. But it's like, where do we want to dive in? I guess it's a running podcast, so I guess we'll start with running. Right. So what's your running background? Because you're super fast. I mean, you ran a 1:16, and you've qualified, and you're in a 2:45, right? And the 1:16 you did recently, and so you said you're 45. And
I'm 46 now. And so I turned 46 in basic training. And I came back and ran the 1:16 after basic training.
I love that so much.
It's insane.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I ran all in high school. But then, like a lot of runners, and that's why I think I love coaching high school athletes for running, is because I lost my passion and that drive for running my senior year. And I kind of lost my way altogether. just self-esteem issues, all that wonderful stuff that a lot of the females go through.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of lost who I was. And so I quit running, and I took a lot of things in life for granted that I just didn't find the joy in life that I used to. And then it was when I was 23, I got in a really bad car accident, and I was driving down the canyon, hit a patch of black ice, and my car ended up spinning, and I hit the medium, and then I bounced off and hit the guardrail, and the guardrail went through the driver's door, or out through the passenger's door and out the driver's door, but it picked me up on top, and my legs got caught between the clutch and the brakes. And so my legs shattered.
Oh my gosh.
Like my left knee was completely blown. That because of my car accident in that situation, it changed my entire life. That's when I realized, I'm like, gosh, I took a lot of things for granted. I ended up being in a wheelchair for a while. My doctor, he's like, I don't know how you're going to heal. We have rods and pins and screws in your legs that we don't know what's going to happen. Time will tell, but you are going to have to learn how to walk again and just go through a lot of physical therapy and a lot of surgeries. And that scared me. And so really, like, I look back at that experience, and I'm so grateful for my accident, because it really just changed my whole mindset. It's, like I said, it made me work harder. The mental toughness had to come out, and I had to do that self-positive talk all through therapy. Like, I can do this. I don't want to be limited. That's just, things shifted.
That's
So,
wild.
yeah.
Wow.
Well, yes.
Does it bother you now if you're full of pins and rods and you're running so fast? Like, you don't have any issues?
I do. Like, I do get the aches and pains, and sometimes, especially with colder weather, I'll come in, and sometimes my legs will ache really bad. But I don't know how to explain it. I'd much rather have the aching of the legs because of the rods than not being able to do what I love to do.
Oh,
And
I'm
so it's kind of like the perspective.
yes.
I'll take that pain with the rods where they healed, my bones healed well around the rods. I'll take that pain over not being able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
wow.
Totally.
That's unbelievable.
I love, I, as strange as it sounds, like, I love that mindset, because I think a lot of people don't look at it that way, because you think of pain as like, oh, this is bad for me. But if the alternative is not moving at all, then
it puts it in perspective.
Yeah. So that's 23. So you, how long was your journey to getting back up to walking, and then where did running happen again?
It took about a year and a half before getting out of the wheelchair and walking, about a year and a half just to get back into that normal routine. Running, I didn't start running. I ended up meeting my husband. We got married, and we actually saw my mother-in-law doing the St. George Marathon. We went down, we're like, oh my gosh, I'm like, this is crazy. That's too far. And so we went really, I'm like, the marathons, I'm like, people are nuts. But we saw her come through, and it was incredible because all these people, different, shapes and sizes and, age gaps, that they were all coming in. And it was the most amazing thing to watch as these people are coming into the marathon, that my husband and I turned to each other like, we should try this. And like I haven't started running yet. Just because it was a little bit more foreign with the hardware. But then we started off running together, and we went and did our first marathon at the Nashville, Tennessee, the Rock and Roll Marathon. And we came in like 5 hours and I think it was like 26 minutes. And I hated it. Like, we were hurting so bad. I'm like, I'm never doing this again. I guess a couple weeks prior, we got into the lottery, and I was praying that we would not get into the St. George Marathon.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm never doing this again. But once we found out we got in, and you're newly married, you already put the money in, and so I'm like, we can't waste money. That we went out and did the St. George Marathon, but I decided to train a little bit differently. And, it was more of a 5-month training. And with that, I think I came in, the next one was a 3:30. And I'm like, oh my gosh, something like clicked when I was running, that I actually really found a lot of joy in that race, that was a marathon that I felt good finishing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want to keep doing this. Now that's maybe one out of the many that are I don't feel very good after I finish marathons. And so when I felt good on that one, I kept looking for that same high of finishing.
Yes.
And that does not come very often.
Mm-hmm.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
It's like,
I'm on marathon number 4 I'm working on. And I'm like, I had one experience that was like that. And I was like, they're all going to be like that, right? And I'm 2 out of 3 that we're not like that. So I'm like,
no, most of them are not for me. No, and it's crazy because the whole mindset when you're running the marathon, I don't know, I don't even know how many I've ran. But I've gone 9 years trying for the Olympic trials, and at least 2-3 marathons a year within those 9 years. Every single marathon, there are so many negative thoughts throughout the whole time.
Yeah.
And it's just that mantra that you have to like push out and go and get the positive thought back in. But every single time I'm like, why am I doing this? I'm like, this is hard. But then it's the joy and the thrill after. You're like, holy crap, that was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it really is so amazing and powerful when you finish.
Mm-hmm.
That is really hard.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, so you talked about your running history a little bit. You talked about your marathon. I think that's like a perfect segue into where you're currently at right now, which is serving in the military, which is super cool. I came from a military family. I'm deep rooted military. So a couple Marines in there, and then I have a couple Army. My brother's a Green Beret, and then
oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so military, like, I'm just like, this woman is a military woman. She is a bad A. Like, you don't even need to explain anything about your life, and I'm already convinced.
Well, feel free to cut me off, like, if you need to, because really,
I was in the Marines, so I also have a military background.
Yes.
I am loving the military. I didn't think I was going to like it this much. I feel like this is where I belong. And I chose the Army National Guard so I can stay home because I have 4 teenage daughters, and my husband that, with his career, I didn't want to go active duty. And like I said, National Guard, you do stay within your state. And so that's why I chose that, so that we didn't have to move around.
Yeah.
So it was because of my running that got me into the military.
Oh.
The age limit is 35 years old.
Yeah.
When I started applying, I was 42. I work at a high school during the day and then coach in the afternoon. But I was at the high school, and a recruiter came in, and he was talking to the high school students about, the National Guard. And I've always been one of those, whenever I saw people in military clothes, I felt this sadness that I wasn't a part of it, because I love everything about the military. Like, I just had this longing for it, but because of my car accident and the way my life took a turn, I never thought it was in my cards. But I felt like I've always wanted to be a part of it. So when he came through, like I said, I was 42 at the time, and I went up to him after class, and I'm like, Sergeant, I want to do this. And he probably looked at me and was like, oh my gosh, we're looking for high school kids. You're way.
Yeah.
And I was, because he asked how old I was. When I told him 42, he did say the cutoff is 35, but there is an age waiver for 42. So we'll try to get you going. I started my paperwork, turned it in, and I got denied. And it's because you have to do it before you turn 42. And so then I found another recruiter, and I'm like, I really want to do this. I hate when people tell me I can't do something. It just drives me crazy, because I'm like, I know I'm perfectly capable of doing it. So then I went to another recruiter, and he was in recruiting for a lot longer. He's like, okay, let's start the process all over again. So I started, and I got denied 3 more times with him helping me. So then I wrote a letter to the governor, and then I wrote a letter to the general in the military. And I had to put my accomplishments down. And I said, look, I'm physically able to, I'm mentally and emotionally capable. I'm like, why would you not let someone like me join? I'm like, I really want to serve my country. And I didn't hear anything back for about 3 months. And so we, like they already moved on thinking that it was a done deal. But then I got a call from a legislator, and it was actually here in Utah County. And he's like, is this Jen, the runner? And I'm like, yes. I'm like, this is, and when he told me who he was, it was Mike McKell. He's like, I'm the legislator here for Utah County. He's like, this is Mike. I'm like, oh my gosh. And so we knew each other through running. I didn't realize that he was in that political role. And so because of that, he's like, well, I was told to reach out to you. I understood that you wrote a letter to the governor. And the process just, it took off from there. That finally the governor signed off on it. Then they had to send it to the Pentagon. And then the Pentagon signed off. And it is because of my running and the accomplishments of going for the Olympic trials and doing all that I've been doing at my age. But my first day, my recruiters told me, they said, they're like, Hughes, right before I was being shipped off to basic training. And I was already so scared to go. I had that, the knot in the pit in my stomach that I'm like, did I make a mistake? I'm leaving my family. Like I said, 4 daughters and my husband. I'm leaving them for the next 5 months. And I was fortunate I was able to break it up. But, I was going to be gone for 3 months, and I've never left my kids before. And so when right before I left, my recruiters like, Jen, they're like, don't stand out. They're like, we know you're good at running. We know you like the physical, but stay in the middle of the pack. You're already going to stand out for your age, and they're not going to like that. I'm like, okay.
Oh,
well, I understood, because they're like, they're going to hammer you hard. I'm like, okay. So I got to basic training, and the first night there, they rode me really hard. I didn't want to tell the kids, nice that I say the kids, I mean, they were all 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old new trainees, new soldiers coming in. I didn't want them to know my age, because first, being a female and then being 45, I'm 25 years older than everyone else, that I didn't want them to be like, oh, we have her on our team, because there's a lot of competitions in the military. And I didn't want that to be like a deterrent for them. Like, crap, we got the old lady. But from day one, they are like, right when I came in, they came out one by one. They're like, Hughes, how old are you? And I'm like, oh, great. Here we go. So then they just kept writing me about it and would not let it go. I see them off in the corner laughing and looking over, and so many insecurities came out. And I just wanted to, I wanted to cry. And I'm like, what am I doing here? I questioned a lot of stuff. But then right before dinner, the first sergeant came out, and he was so intimidating, and everyone was just afraid of him. He came out and he's like, Hughes, I need to talk to you. And I'm like, oh, great. Here we go. Pulls me out, and he pulls a few others out that were in their 30s. And he takes us out to this open field, and he's like, look, you guys are all a liability. And he kind of gave us this lecture, and then he turns to me and he's like, Hughes, what are you doing here? He's like, you're too old. You're not going to be fast enough. You're not going to be strong enough. You're not going to be able to keep up. They're like, he's like, what are you doing? He's like, this is not for you. And if you are last at anything, or if you need help with anything, he's like, we are going to make everyone in here pay for it. And there was 263 other soldiers. And it sucked, because I started to believe him, that the rest of the evening, I'm like, oh my gosh, he's right. I don't belong. I'm not going to be fast enough. Why did I do this? What did I get myself into? And I really had that self-doubt and got really down. And like I said, I just wanted to cry, and I wanted to call my family, and I wanted to go home. But thank goodness for running and that mental toughness that us runners, we have to build. I mean, we push through so many barriers that, we don't think we're capable of until we go out and do it. I went to bed that night, and I started giving myself that self-positive talk again. I'm like, they can't tell me I don't belong. They can't tell me that I'm not strong enough or fast enough. That I knew right then and there that I couldn't hold back. I'm not going to be in the middle of the crowd. I'm just going to have to show them, what I can do. It was like 3 days later. And so the next 3 days, it was hard. And they just would not let up on me and my age. But yeah, they took us out to this open field, and there's this big mile loop, and they're like, "Okay, everyone, we're doing a race." And in my head, I'm like, "Ah, yes!" I'm like, I love races. And everyone else, like, you can hear kind of like the moaning, the groaning, like, I don't want to do a race." And when they said it was a mile long, I'm like, that's easy. I'm like, I can do a mile. And they lined us all up, and they're like, "On your mark, set, go." And like I said, coaching so long, I can tell when people take off on a sprint, they're not going to last.
Mhm.
So more than half these guys and some of the females took off on this dead on sprint. And I just, I started off at my pace that I'm comfortable at. And I started going, and sure enough, 2-3 minutes or 1 to 2 minutes into the running, I start passing all these people, and you can hear people like running. I'm old, and especially these males, when a female is passing them, they don't like it, because they need to show their, their strength as well. And so I start passing them one by one, and we get to the halfway point, and I notice there's only 5 people in front of me. I'm like, okay, I got this. And so I kind of pick up the pace a little bit. I pass the next guy, and then I get to this other guy, Gardner. We became really good friends after, and he sees me, a few swear words. He's like, "Oh, shoot, Hughes, not you." I'm like, "It's me." And he's like, "I can't let you beat me." And so he picks up the pace again. And like 20, 30 seconds later, I pass him again. And you hear him, swear under his breath. I'm like, "Sorry, Gardner, I'll see you at the finish."
Right.
And I just kept going. And then I passed a couple more. And as we got closer to the finish line, I ended up taking second overall. And I came in, I think it was like a 5:33 or 5:34. And all the drill sergeants, they're like, "Holy crap, Hughes." They didn't say crap. Like I said, a lot of sweat. Holy crap, Hughes.
Like,
"Get over
James
here."
Skippy Hughes.
It was down. But what I learned there is I had to stand out. I had to prove to them, I had to earn their respect. It was a couple days later that we did the ACFT, and that's like the more of the strength training drills, like the push-ups and plank and everything. And I ended up taking third overall with the strength training and with the running. That really I earned not just their respect, but also all the younger soldiers in my platoon. That when I got put on a team, they're like, "Oh yes, we got Hughes." And that really built my confidence, because I was struggling, and it brought me back to like high school days. I'm like, why is it like this? But it was because of running that really, it just changed things for me. And yeah, put me up in that, the more of the top group for the military that, like I said, I earned the respect. And so now with coaching, I tell my kids, I'm like, don't be mediocre.
Mhm.
I'm like, I don't care if you're the slowest person on the team or the fastest, you put 100% in.
Mhm.
I'm like, your coach will see, your peers will see, your teammates, teachers. I'm like, give it 100% and don't be mediocre. I'm like, stand out. Anyway,
I feel like someone needs to make a movie about you, or you need to write a children's book or something.
oh, no. It's just a lot. Like, I can't sit still. My poor husband and kids. I'm like, okay, what's next? What's next? But I still, like, I'm going to be wearing the jersey for the Army. Like when I go to races, I'm going to now that I'm 40 and over, which is amazing, that we have more opportunities, that I was able to get into the world championships for like the AG world championships. And so I still have a lot of races that I have lined up for this fall, that it keeps me going.
That is so cool. So do you coach yourself?
Yes, now I do. I had coaches in the past that helped all through the training for the Olympic trials. But now I guess it's only been a year and a half, because I tried the last round and missed it by 19 seconds. And I was so
Oh my
bummed.
goodness.
It's like, but it's all that training. I mean, you guys get it. Like, you train for a time.
That's a big
And when you don't hit it, like, you get a big PR, and when you don't hit your goal, you're so down about it. But I'm like, why do we do that when we should celebrate doing well, even though it's not what we wanted?
Yeah.
You know?
It's true. It's easier to say that once you've
Yeah.
had some clarity on it, though. 'Cause in the
Yes.
moment, it is very, very frustrating, and
It
yeah.
is. But I see with my own high school kids that they PR so much, but it's not exactly what they want. And it's so hard to be like, hey, it's okay. Because it is. I mean, we all kind of just, I mean, that's just how we are as runners, I guess.
So we've had a few moms on who are like you, where they are doing a bunch of stuff, and I'm sitting here thinking, how many women are you? So I'm curious what a typical day is like for you, and then like what your schedule's like with training, because I think I saw you in a helicopter the other day, right?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. This has been the coolest experience. Yeah, I got a ride in the Blackhawk.
That's so cool.
I was actually at our state track meet that day, and it was the night before. They're like, we have an opening in the Blackhawk if you can make it tomorrow. And I'm looking at my schedule because that morning I went to school. Like I said, I work at the high school. The military actually put me on. They call it ADOS orders, so I'm on full-time military now, helping with recruiting. And then I still coach. And thank goodness my kids are on the track team. So like we're with each other all the time. I work at the same school that they go to. And so I'm able to work it out where, and my husband works at the school I work at. He's the social worker. And so it's nice because we're always together, but a busy life together, if that makes sense. But yeah, so I was at a state track meet. And when they said, what's your schedule like tomorrow? I'm like, not tomorrow. But then the window was so perfect because I didn't have any athletes in a 2-hour frame. And then, so I quickly drove. I was already halfway to the base. Right when one of my runners finished their race, I hopped in the car, went up there, went on the Blackhawk for an hour, and the most incredible experience. Got off the Blackhawk and went back to the rest of the state meet, and it worked out just perfect. And then just 2 days ago, I was invited to go onto the KC 135. It's a refueler. And so then you have the fighter jets like refueling, and we're up in the middle of the air. And I'm talking to the pilot, and I'm like, so do you watch? And he's like, I've seen it happen one time. He's like, it's eerie to me how close they get to my plane. So I just will be the pilot, and I will stay on my path and stay at my speed and trust all the other soldiers that they know what to do, and everything works. But being there, watching them refuel the jets, I mean, they were right up on, like right next to our airplane. And I'm like, what am I doing up here? I'm like, oh my gosh, anyone makes one wrong move and we're all gone.
Yeah.
But it's incredible. Like, I'm loving it. No, but a typical day, now that it's summertime, it's going to be a lot more relaxing. But during the school year, it's getting up at 5 a.m. and being home by 6:45 at the latest, get ready for work. All of us go to the high school, that they go to and that we work at. I work there for a couple hours, and then I go do recruiting with, I'm not a recruiter. I just help in the office. Like, I'm like a lead. I help them get into schools and with coaches. But then I go do that, and then I come back and coach high school, and then home by 5 o'clock, where we all spend time together at the house. So it's busy, but we like it.
So how old are your girls, and what did they think about your decision to join the military?
My girls, my oldest just turned 19 a couple days ago, 19, 17, 16, and 15. And it was because of them that I joined. I think having all females, they love to see females thrive. And especially with this generation, they're a lot stronger, I feel like, than I was as a high school person. My oldest is the one that said, Mom, if you don't do this, and this is something you really wanted to do, she's like, we'd be disappointed. And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay. But it did take me 2 years to get in. And so we had 2 years of trying to figure this out. When I got denied the first time, then the second time, I'm like, do I keep going? And they were like, yes, keep trying. I'm like, okay. But really, and my husband has been so supportive, did an amazing job. Like I said, we've always been together. So being gone away was the hardest thing for me. That's what broke me in basic training. The physical, I really loved. It was a lot easier than I thought it would be. on the physical end, and then the mental, I knew the roles of a drill sergeant. I knew that was going to be really tough, but I went in knowing it was going to be tough with the drill sergeant. It was the emotional that broke me, just being away from, and the running routine. It was very different. That running is therapy for me, just like it's probably for all of you ladies. It's therapy. Like I can run with other friends and we can talk about everything, or I can run by myself and I can work everything out in my head. It was very different and basic. That
Yeah.
we didn't run as much, obviously, of what we're used to. And so there was those type of things that it was really hard.
Yeah.
Where was basic training? Were you far from home?
Oklahoma. I was at Fort Sill,
Okay.
and it was about 100 and 114 because I went during the summer, and so it was very hot.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Oh my gosh. I feel so out of my league. I didn't know that there was like I guess I've just never really thought about like there being an age cap for it, and that like the pursuit of it, that it would have been more difficult than anticipated versus, I feel like it's such a noble thing, right? For an 18, 19-year-old to go and join the military and all these things. But I don't think we think about it a lot when someone who is older and established, and especially has children, because you are leaving 4 pieces of yourself behind. It is everything about who you are. So just the pursuit of that, but that you had so much support, and it wasn't a venture for yourself, but that it was for them.
Well, what I thought was, I think the most rewarding thing for me to learn is when, the kids were like, oh my gosh, they're going to take me for granted. They're going to see how much I do for them. It was opposite. Like they did see like, oh my gosh, mom does so much for all of us. We kind of run the house. Not to be like men do a great job, but moms, we hold the house together. And more for that emotional support for our kids, everything. We're just, I don't know, maybe I'm speaking out of line, but I think just more compassionate and understanding. But I learned an amazing lesson that I actually took them for granted too. And I'm so grateful for that experience. Like I hated it. I'm going to cry because I hated being away, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I realized that I kept thinking like, oh, it's all going to be all about them missing me. But I think it was stronger on my end that I took them for granted, and I took my husband for granted, that he does a lot, and for him to kind of take over the whole household so I could go do this next, chapter in our life, that it was pretty incredible that we became closer as a family. And because I just felt like we were stagnant, like it was good and healthy, but we kind of lived our lives. But I think that it brought new perspective to our family.
That's so great. Well, it's like that saying of, I don't know the word for word, but where you're raising your kid to be independent, but then like, how am I ever going to be able to not be dependent on them anymore? Because I think about that all the time. I'm like, I mean, they're like, you only have this many summers with them, enjoy every second of it. And it seems so long, right? When they're little, and then all of a sudden the years are ticking by and stuff. So yeah, we are just so dependent on our kids, just, because they're just such a piece of us, and they're always there, and there's so many highs and lows, but the day to day is like Groundhog Day with them all the time,
100%. It is. I mean, you're very right on that it is. I think sometimes we kind of get lost in that, mode of being the mom. But, I am grateful for my family for being supportive, because, I got a lot of comments too on the negative end for joining. Like, I can't believe you're leaving your kids. And that struck me, because I had that own guilt myself.
Yeah.
That it hit me harder because I felt that. And so I think when people would say, why are you leaving your kids? I can't believe you're doing this. It would be kind of more of that, ouch. I understand. I mean, I thought that many times, but now being home, and where National Guard, it's typically 1 week in a month and 2 weeks out of the summer. I truly feel like this is where I belong. And my family, it's totally fine.
And I mean, not like, first of all, is redemption for high school insecure Jen, right? But then it's also like ensuring that your girls don't struggle with that, or if they do, that it's
Yes.
going to be, fleeting because they've seen what their mom has done. I feel like
And I'm very open about that.
I don't think we've had an episode where we don't talk about mom guilt, and when we place it on ourselves and then people make those comments that even if we weren't feeling guilty, then we do, or it rubs salt in the wound or whatever. And I don't know, I just think those comments come from people who they didn't do it. And so they feel bad, and misery loves company, right? Like they wish that they could go chase a dream like that, but they don't, or they feel like they can't. And so,
but I love that
haters
because
gonna hate.
for your girls, it'll always be their normal. This is their normal, that their mom pursued the things that she wanted to and could pursue, and that there wasn't a limit, like just because someone told her no. And that's huge for me because I love, I use my mom all the time where I'm like, well, my mom did this, so like, why wouldn't I do this? Like to me, these are normal things, because if like, even if my husband were to like challenge me and be like, or say, no, I don't think that's a good idea, or why would you want to do this? And it's like, well, my mom did this. Like, I've never thought differently, and for you to have 4 children, 4 girls that get to use you as a role model is so incredible. And it's huge. I mean, it's huge. It's everything.
I need to call you guys more often.
No, I think it's just so inspiring. I think a lot of times, like we think of, I think so much we see people being a victim of their circumstances, or all the I wish I would have, or I wish I could have, and just.
And that's okay. I'm glad that you said that because I think that if I didn't do this, I would have always thought I wish I would have tried.
Yes, definitely.
And I don't want to have any regrets in that sense. But
definitely.
So what's it like coaching your own girls?
Oh, it's so hard. Because like when they say I don't want to do it, like other runners, I can be like, hey, look, and you can give them that, the mental talk, the positive talk. I mean, every type of coaching talk, and they'll listen. Mm-hmm. When it comes to my own girls, it's really hard. That I am grateful for my other co-coaches with me, because I actually, beginning of every season, I'm like, look, you have to coach my daughter. Because I try not to, because whenever they do get upset, like I'm like, hey, you have to go to practice today. Mom, you always tell me what to do. Like, I don't like running. I'm like, well, then just quit the team. Why not? I don't want to quit. And so like, it's, you know what I mean? Yeah. Because it's coming from me, it's more of that I'm annoying her. Yeah. So I do have the other coaches coach them, which has worked out really well. Because I've always been so excited to have them on the team for cross country and for track. And they do other sports as well. Like I have a daughter that's doing lacrosse, and then I'm like, okay, if you can come do a track event. So our school's really good that they share their athletes so they can do both. But yeah, so the ones that are just cross country or just track, I have the other coaches do it because they just don't. Yeah, they don't listen to me, which is fine. I get it. It just makes it easier.
Yes. Yeah. I can totally see that. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Like if my mom, when she would try to teach me, my background is in ballet, and that's my mom's too. And when she would try to teach, and I'm like, I'm so sorry for how I was during ballet, but I stand by it. I stand by it. Yeah. I didn't want to take advice from her. It's just that mother-daughter thing. I think very like classic, but that's good. At least to have other.
Well, and track is easier because they do cross country where obviously we're coaching just distance. With track, I actually, 2 of my daughters went to hurdles. Mm-hmm. And so I have an amazing hurdles coach that like she is so good that she relates really well with my girls, that it's fun to watch, like be at the meet. I can cheer them on as a mom and not as their coach and like critique what they need to do. Mm-hmm. That's where obviously the hurdles coach comes into play. Mm-hmm. And so that has been nice, being able to watch them as a mom, even though I'm the head coach over there, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Are you from a military background, or do you just feel very pulled to structure, or where did that come from?
So this might sound really bad, but I just found out. So my dad unfortunately passed away a couple months ago. And I found out that he was actually in the National Guard as well for 5 years, and I had no clue.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I knew that he joined because when the draft went out for Vietnam, I knew he joined, but I thought it was only because he was younger when it was the tail end of the war. And so I knew that he joined the National Guard, but I really thought it was only for about 5-6 months, and then they released everyone that was once the war was done. But I didn't realize that he was in for 5 years. And I have a brother-in-law that is, he just retired and he was in the Navy. And we always joke around about that because he's like, Jen, he's like, you're starting and I just retired. He's like, most people retire at the age of 45. He's like, by the time they're 25, he's like, you put your 20 years in, you're out. And so he's like, you're crazy. I'm like, I know I'm crazy.
So were you in for like an undetermined amount of time, or do you is it like 5 years, or how does that work?
I signed on it's an 8-year contract. And I think I want to continue doing it. As of right now, I've only been in for a year, but I really do love it. That I think I think I want to probably continue after the 8 years and just sign on another contract.
That's amazing.
But my job is like with the National Guard, you have to choose like a field you go into. And so my job is a religious affairs specialist / well, we're kind of like counselors, but we can't say counselors because we don't have that training, but we take care of the emotional and mental well-being of all the soldiers.
Oh, wow.
And so they put me with the aviation crew. And so now when I go for my trainings, I get to go around and I just make sure that everyone is taken care of, like they're mentally doing okay, like, or if they have any financial problems, family problems, anything, we can go and talk. And if it's above my training, then I send them either to the chaplain or to the social worker. And so that's where the religious affairs specialist comes in. So I can help them go to chaplain or social worker.
Wow, that's great. That sounds like a great fit.
Well, it is awesome. Like I really enjoy it. And a lot of them, I'm getting a lot of phone calls and text messages to help them with a training plan. And that I really love. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm needed.
Yeah.
Because, I'm like, you just don't know. And so I'm helping them with, it's mainly their 2 mile. A lot of people struggle with the 2 mile.
That's interesting. That's so cool. That's perfect.
So cool. Yeah. It's like all of it does sound like it's a perfect match. Like you've always done.
I think that's why I'm loving it.
So is there, how do you, with being so busy and having so much on you, like how do you prioritize your mental health, your physical health, make sure that you're recovered and getting enough rest? I mean, we like to say on this podcast that running is not self-care. Say that it's a necessity. Like it's not an extra, you know?
It really is. I like routine.
Yeah.
My husband is complete opposite.
Mm-hmm. Same.
He is like, yes, I was gonna say like more of the ADHD. And so it's like, oh, I'll show up when I want, or I'm more of that routine. And so like I said, my alarm goes off at 5. I'll get up and then I'm in bed by 10 o'clock. I know that all my kids know from day one, I go to bed at 10.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's Saturday night, because I take Sundays off. That's when we can stay up and watch movies, do whatever. And I don't care if friends are over. Our house is an open door that people are in and out all night long, but they all know that I go to bed. Yeah. And so, but throughout the day, I still have a calendar that people make fun of me because I don't put it in my phone. I have a written calendar, but I like the checklist.
Yeah.
And so like check it off, or I can see it physically written down what I have for the day. Then to me, that's kind of therapeutic as well, that there's structure and,
oh, totally.
But I think I just love talking to people. And so that really, like my job at the high school, I look forward to going to work. I don't know if there's ever been one day that I haven't looked forward to going to work. And then now with this new position, it's a 6-month contract with being full-time. I really look forward to going to work. I don't need like a stress release.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. No, that's weird.
No, that's what everybody wants.
Yeah. I don't love when people are like trying to one up for hardship. Like, well, I have the most stressful job. You have no idea what I go through every day. And it's like, if you don't love it, what are you doing? Like
Yes.
you've got to have
For
something
sure.
that you love in your life, so
that we've
that's
talked about
amazing.
that
I
before.
love
I
it.
feel like,
Yeah.
right? Because I struggle with guilt because I'm like, I love my life. And then it dawned on me the other day. I was like, but I've made choices and worked hard in order to be in the position that I'm in.
Mhm.
And I should
Yes.
not feel bad for that.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And people will look at your life or they'll look at mine and be like, that does not sound fun.
Mhm.
And that's great. You know what I mean?
Totally.
That's true.
I look at what you guys are doing. I'm like, I think I would love this because you get to talk to so many people and get to know so many people. Like, that's incredible.
Mhm.
It
Yeah.
really is. It is. We love it. This past month, we've interviewed a different mom, like I mentioned, every week. And it's been so fun. And it's
That is
like
neat.
people like you on Instagram, you seem amazing and so inspirational. But
Oh,
then when we talk to you, it's like, oh my gosh, that was just the a tip of the iceberg. There's so much. So it's been so awesome to get to know you, and you've been so inspirational. I mean, oh my goodness, like
I know. It's hard. It's hard to, because it's this whole, like, we all have the same 24 hours in the day, but it seems like you are just fitting in however much more. Like
it's
it
busy.
is so crazy. I have so much respect.
It is busy.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was going to say, I don't look like, I think we're very hard on
Yeah.
ourselves because I look at them like, oh my gosh, I'm not anything out of the, I'm not anything special. Does that make sense? And so
well,
I
I
really think
disagree,
that,
but
Yeah, I
you
was
know,
gonna
well,
say.
thank you. It is. No, I really appreciate that because, yeah, like I said, I think we're harder on ourselves than
Yeah.
what other people
I think
see.
what you're doing is pretty spectacular. I mean, I will say, I think military is like different level. We just went and toured like the Navy base over in Coronado Island, and I was like,
Yes.
this is so out of my level of anything probably that I'll ever accomplish. And so it really is like this next level thing. Like, of course we can't compare ourselves, right? Like everybody is in their
For
own
sure.
version of hard, busy, or lifestyle, whatever it is. And I always try to respect that, but at the same time, it's like there are people that just do more spectacular things than others, and it's okay to just be in awe of that, so, and we're in awe of you.
I know that we're probably running out of time, but here's a perfect example that people can do a lot more things than what they think they're capable of. And like for a quick example is 2 weeks before I left for basic training, like I said, I was getting really nervous, not knowing how I was going to match up with my physical ability. That I was running down the road and it was early, so no cars out, it was dark, and I see this wall, and I knew that I was going to have to do an obstacle course in basic training. I watched a lot of videos. I'm like, I'm just going to go hop that wall. I'm like, that should be easy. I went running up to it and I tried to hop it. And you know, when your feet are like kind of climbing the wall, and I tried to get myself over and I couldn't. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I tried it again. And I'm like, I didn't have any like upper body strength. But when I got into basic, the day that we did the obstacle course, sure enough, there was 3 walls and like the rope climb and every other like obstacle out there that you can think of. But when you have someone yelling at you and everyone like encouraging you, like, the rest of our, like the platoon and everything, oh my gosh, it's incredible what your body can do, because I flew over those walls like it was nothing. But with the adrenaline and just like everything going into play, it's like we can do so much more. We just have to believe in ourselves to do it. But for some reason, something holds us back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like when you have to do it, you just do
I
it.
just can't. I'm going to be thinking about you. That sounds so weird. Often, like just the car accident alone and being in a wheelchair and not being, and now, and then at 45, you're running like crazy fast time. Your story is just insane. And so it is just, if you encounter any obstacle, persevere. Like, believe in yourself, keep going, don't give up. You are capable of way more than you think you are. You just gotta,
Yes,
sometimes you
you
just
are.
gotta tell your parts of your brain to shut up.
You do, for
Yeah.
sure. You do.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. This has been a delight.
Yes, thank you.
Well, it's really nice meeting you guys. Yeah, we'll have to talk outside of this sometime. Maybe we can all meet up in St. George.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've been threatening
Absolutely.
Olivia and Shanna that I'm going to come
I
visit
know.
them sometime.
It would be.
So
That would be fun.
Well, we'll definitely actually
Great.
have to make that happen because that would be a dream.
that would be so fun.
Yes, that would be fun.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's make it. Let's make it a goal. All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Well,
Thank you
you
guys.
Bye. Thank
See ya.
you.